guest, a very talented actor and comedian you know from shows like The Mindy Project, Happy Endings, and Knuckles. His comedy special, An Intimate Evening with Adam Pally, is available now on HBO Max. Let's take a look.
I never did stand-up comedy, although I think those guys are, in a lot of ways, the philosophers of our generation, especially like the ones with podcasts from Austin. I feel like they go over the line so that we don't have to. And I appreciate it and I love it. I just never had to do that. I never had to read the news and be like, what am I gonna do? What's funny about this? I never had to think of a premise or punchline because I was just born the slightest bit attractive, so.
Please welcome back to the show, Adam Pally!
I'm so happy to be here. I'm so good. Thank you.
I was just saying, you look remarkably better than you do in your special.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And a lot of people aim to look their very best when they film a special.
Uh-huh. Well, I was trying to do things different. I thought it would be good to look like I had been found in a ravine.
I love the special. I texted you about it.
Yes, thank
you.
By the way, when you texted me, it was truly like just the most, I love you and you're a hero of mine. So when you texted me, I was like, oh my God, I forgot Seth could see it. Do you know that feeling?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I was like,
I see what you mean. You just avoided like an accident.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't realize like it was out there and people could see it. Like I almost rather people didn't watch it and just like saw the billboards. And then maybe if they heard it was good, lie to their friends, like, I did see that.
Gotcha.
Because it's vulnerable, and so when you texted me, I was like, oh my God, Seth saw that.
So you had a nice, proper premiere party on Thursday. It's in the world.
It was so awesome. Yeah, it was great. It was, and I went right from that premiere party to the weekend was my cousin's wedding, my little cousin's wedding. Jesse and Anna, they got married. They're the most amazing people, and I got to go there, and it's good for my mental health to like go from a premiere party that's all about you to like a wedding of someone you love. It's all about them.
Right.
It's like really, it was very good for me. And there was a moment at the wedding where I think, some people got wind that I was there and they started coming up to me and they were like, can I take a picture with you or whatever? And I was like, of course, of course. And then this one guest who I didn't know, I'm assuming she was from the bride side, came up to me and was like, I didn't want to do this. Because it's, I know you're at your cousin's wedding, but are you in the movies? And I was like, sometimes. And she's like, I didn't want to be disrespectful, so could we take a picture? Is that weird? And I was like, no, it's not weird, And I was like, kind of like elbowing my son, being like, oh man, still got it, And then she goes, great. And she's like fumbling for her phone. She goes, what is your name again? And I was like, Adam Pally. And she goes, oh, no, I'm sorry, no. And she walked away.
That's like more, you were saying it was like good for your mental health to like have the focus not be you, but like that's too much.
Yeah, it was tough. And I still am like, I wonder who she thought I was.
I feel like you have the right in that moment to ask.
I do. I didn't want to hear like, I thought you were like Paul Rudd after he died alone, and then they found him 9 days later.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
I didn't want to hear that at that moment.
This is your dad's backstage.
My dad's here with me. Yes.
Your dad. You talk in the special about how your parents were lounge singers.
Yes, my parents were lounge singers in New York, and my father is here with me, and he's in the special, and it was he's so difficult.
He plays piano in the special.
He plays piano, but I mean like to work with.
Oh. Did you know going in?
No, not at all. And I've worked with like a lot of people.
Yeah.
And he is the most difficult ever that I've ever worked. Like you're not supposed to work with like kids and dogs.
Yeah.
And I would add my dad to that. to that list.
Yeah. This is your first stand-up special.
Yes.
Did you talk to other stand-ups about it?
A little bit. I feel very conflicted about even like calling it a stand-up special because I really do have such reverence for the art form, and like I come from sketch and improv,
Yep.
and it's just not, I feel bad even saying it. So I was like, I was talking to a bunch of stand-ups, and one night here we were at SNL, and Chris Rock was there, and I've known him for a little bit, and he was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, I think I'm gonna do like a 1 hour special," and I think it like caught him off guard a little because I'm not, and he was like, "It takes like 10 years minimum to get good at stand-up," and I was like, "Yeah," and he's like, "No. Like 10 years. Like not 1,000 hours, not 10,000 hours, not open mics. He's like 10 years." And I was like, yeah. And it was like, and I really appreciate that. It took me one. Truly. Like the special was ready to fly 7 months in.
Yeah. I mean, you pick things up quickly.
I'm like a dog.
Which is probably why when they reached out and asked you to do the Great British Bake Off.
Yes, yeah.
The Halloween.
Halloween episode of the Great
How
British
did it
Bake
come
Off.
about?
Well, Casey Wilson, who's the host,
Dear friend
of both of ours, who's a host of Great British Bake Off, I owed her $60,000 even.
Okay.
And I didn't have it.
Yeah.
I'm not liquid like that, and I just couldn't move it around in time, and so the only way to kind of like leverage anything was to be like, fine, I'll do the Bake Off.
Got it. And
So that's
do you watch Great British Bake Off?
Do I look like I watch Great British Bake Off?
Do you know anything about baking?
I didn't know anything. Truly, the whole experience felt like someone at like 4 a.m. put a bag over my head, threw me in a van. 8 hours later, they took the hood off and I was on a baking show.
You did have a little bit of that vibe.
Yeah, no, truly. It felt like I was the only one at Mushrooms at like a fish show. Where I was like, are we all enjoying this the same way?
Paul and Prue, I mean, these are famous, for those who watch the show, these are the judges.
Yeah, Paul and Prue.
Did you know, so you didn't even know them ahead
I
of
didn't
time?
know anything about them, but like I started to I wanted to like get them on my side clearly because my baking was not gonna be, I knew I was gonna lose when I got asked to do it. And so I like was trying to get in with them, and I had learned that Prue writes erotic novels.
Yeah.
And so like right away when she came over and she was like, "Oh, what do we have here?" And I was like, "Before you judge this, I want you to know I'm a big fan of your books." And I saw her kind of be like, "Oh." And I kid you not, everything I baked was horrible, and every time she was like, "There's something about the taste of the young man."
Now, you're being, maybe people think you might be being hard on yourselves, but we
That's fair.
did bring some photos.
Oh, God.
So what were you trying, or not trying, maybe this is what it was, maybe this was the goal all along. What is this?
Those are mummy brownies.
Okay, because it was Halloween.
It was Halloween.
So those are mummy brownies.
I got in particular trouble for when I served those because they were made on individual cake tins,
Yeah.
and I forgot to take them out, so I did serve the judges metal.
What's this?
That is a cemetery cake that I moved too soon, and it split down the middle. That was a hard assignment, I think.
Cemetery cake was.
Yeah.
Now this is Adam's test terror cake. Was to do something that gives you a nightmare?
They asked you to make something that gave you a nightmare, and I do have nightmares about taking tests.
Yeah.
In school.
My nightmare would be if somebody served me this cake. Now, but you get feedback from the judges. Obviously, we heard Prue, she was obviously a little taken with you, but
Yeah.
how was Paul as a judge?
First of all, that guy.
Okay.
Seriously, like the gall on him. Like that guy He's like one of the best bakers ever. He shows up in like a green Ferrari with a wheel on the other side. Now I know we're in England.
But it seems different. He's doing it for a different reason.
Yeah. By the way, I did this show in England. I did my show in England,
Yeah.
and I didn't go good because of the language barrier.
Oh, right.
But anyway, he's that guy. So you present him your dish, right?
Yeah.
And everyone, the whole point of this, it's like celebrity British Bake Off. It's not like celebrity baker British Bake. It's just celebrity. No one knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, and he sits up there as if you're like it's if you're handing in your final like culinary school.
Yeah.
You know, and like so with no grace about the fact, and so I was like. I gave him my thing, and he was like really laying into me. He's like, in what world does nutmeg go with roller? And I was like, you know what, man? You. You know what? You go on Last Comic Standing, huh?
Yeah.
I want to see your ass on Last Comic Standing, and I'll be a judge and be like, what the are you doing? This guy's dumb. Oh, this guy never been in front of a microphone before. I mean, he was like, well, you've never seen an oven? I was like, no, dude. No.
Well, hey, man, I had your back, Pally, right up until that moment.
You're always inviting me for a bake. Oh, try Seth's new muffins.
No, I'm gonna walk it back. The question wasn't if you ever baked anything in an oven. The question was if you ever seen an oven.
Yeah, but you know, I've seen an oven. I don't know what the buttons mean. I know what it does. I know what it does. I don't know how to do it. There's like a very specific set of skills to know. That's what bakers do,
Okay.
right? The whole point of me being there was that I didn't know what I was doing. So when I went up there and I was like, here's my dish, and he's like, this is god awful. I'm like, yeah, mother. It is.
Oh my God. This is Adam Pally, everybody. An Intimate Evening is available on HBO Max. We'll be right back.